everyone and welcome. You are here because you have a new hero and you want to know what he does and how to upgrade him. So first things first, how do we access your hero? Well, there's two ways. We can tap on the throne room, which is where he lives, and select hero. We can simply tap on our hero, and if we're in the dungeon store, there's an orange tab towards the top left hand side which will take us to hero. You will need two things that we will find in the dungeon to upgrade your hero. The first thing is something called Ether, which is the currency used only in the dungeon store. And secondly, the relic fragments, which are used to upgrade the relics. Relics are add-ons for your hero that will enhance your squad. Let's take a look at the dungeon store. Tap on map, and then down the bottom right we can see the dungeon. Simply tap on store. Okay, so when we finish in the dungeon, we will have earned Ether. That's this blue splat mark. I currently have 41,000. Depending on which troop class we want to upgrade or boost will depend on which tokens we buy. So for red warrior tokens for your warriors or tanks, if we want to upgrade the mages, we need to buy these purple tokens, and for archers, the green archer tokens. To get 2,000 tokens will cost us 10,000 Ether. The other thing we need for upgrades are relic fragments to upgrade relics. These can be bought for diamonds, or better yet from chests from the dungeon for free. We can also buy Ether for diamonds too, but again it works out quite expensive. Okay, let's go and take a look at our hero. To the left of the screen we have our hero. Directly above our hero is his name. By tapping on the pencil we can edit his name to anything you like. To the top left of your hero we have his eye power. This isn't the same as your squad's eye power. It's his own eye power that gets added to your squad. So if your squad currently has 1,000,000 eye power and he has 1,000,000 eye power, you'll end up with a total of 2,000,000 eye power. Underneath your hero there are 5 slots. These are where you place relics. On the right hand side, towards the bottom of the screen, we have our relics. As you upgrade your hero, you will get more and more relics to use. To equip a relic, simply tap on it and hit equip, or you can drag it. Not all relics are the same. Most of the relics will go in the 2 slots on the left and right hand side, and some relics will only fit in the middle here. While relics can be used all the time, some relics are only used in certain situations. Like this green clan war flag will only be used during a war fight. So when you start war, you'll want to equip this to gain an extra boost to your squad. As you upgrade it, so the boost gets better. This relic won't work in arena, djembe or anywhere else, only the wars. It's the same with this relic here. The dungeon flag will only work in the dungeon. So if it's equipped when you go into djembe, you won't get any benefit and you will lose out on something else that could be in this slot, like a boost for the archer. Above the relics, on the right hand side, we have a big round disc. Tapping on that will show your progress in the different classes. Not that useful in my opinion. The number 4 to the right of that is how many times you've upgraded a class star. More on that later. To the left of the big wheel there is the constellations in an orange tab. The green disc with a number 16 will tell you how many possible upgrades you have. Also on this screen are two tabs to the top right, Battle and Skin. This is the Battle screen and the Skin is this screen. Simply put, your hero comes in different shapes and sizes. Humans, orcs, male and female, and when you do battles in the dungeon you'll come across every now and again different items he can equip and wear. These are all purely cosmetic, and as you can see there are a lot of different things. Some of these items come from events, and if you didn't get it in the event then you won't be able to get it. All of the others you will be able to get by defeating different bosses and generally playing in the dungeon. Lastly, on the list on the left hand side is your hero's mount, and that's what he rides into battle with. From the wolf down, all of these can be unlocked in the dungeon. All of the ones from the wolf or above can only be gotten from the events. None of these items will give any benefit to your hero or your troops. They are all purely cosmetic. And to get back to the screen we were before, just tap on Battle. Okay, let's go into the constellations and see what we can upgrade. On this screen here, we've got 3 tabs at the top of the screen, 1 tab for each class. We have the warrior, which is red, the mage, which is purple, and green for the archer. Depending on which class you want to upgrade and progress the most in, you'll click that tab. Another thing to mention, if on these screens you see a dot by the side of a talent or a relic, that means that there's a possible upgrade you can afford to do. Then you can see a green disc with a number in, 6 for the warrior here, and I've got 10 for a mage. That shows you how many possible upgrades there are. Just underneath the warrior tab is a box with numbers in, 9004. That's how many tokens for the warrior class we have, and that changes depending on your class. So 6900 for mage and 1400 for archer. If you want to upgrade one of these discs, the smaller ones are passive and are called talents. The bigger ones in the middle are relics. They're the ones that go into the slots. But either way, either a talent or relic will need the tokens to upgrade. So Thug here will need 27,000 tokens. I currently have 9,000, so I'd have to buy many more tokens to be able to upgrade it. With the smaller passive talents, you only need tokens to upgrade them, and providing you have enough tokens, you can go from level 1 to level 14 in one go. But for the relics, you also need relic fragments. These you get from dungeon chests, and they are much harder to come across. Also, for different relics come different relic fragments. So for this Ankh, you will need special Ankh fragments. For Armoured Hamster here, you need Armoured Hamster relic fragments. And that goes for all of the different relics. So the concept is quite simple really. Go to the dungeon, earn chests that will have relic fragments in, and also earn Ether, which you buy tokens with. When you have both tokens and relic fragments, then you can upgrade relics or the talents. Okay, so what's the first thing we're going to upgrade for your hero? The first thing we have to upgrade for the warrior class is the Jar of Acid relic. It's not great, so I only upgrade it 1 level. That will unlock the other talents to upgrade. Then we need to be upgrading as much as we can health. We need to try and get the core strength in our troops as high as possible, and that's for all the classes. That's health, damage and armour. So we want to try and get to the Ankh relic. When we have enough relic fragments and enough effort, upgrade the Ankh relic as high as you can. This is very handy and it's good enough to last you up till Throne Room 11. The two other best relics to upgrade is the Champion's Belt, which again will gain more health for your allied warriors, and Armoured Hamster. When allied warriors have less than 40% health, they take 25% less damage of any type. If health exceeds 40%, the effect is removed. So when my warriors fall below 40% health, they take 25% less damage. That's a great one to have to keep them alive. I don't use the Jar of Acid. I don't use the Tournament flag. I don't use any of the flags. Each class has a flag that increases health, armour and damage for all the units during a particular event. In this case, the tournament. Mithril Shackles. This is another good relic, but I don't use it. I've upgraded this to level 6 and I do use it from time to time, but I don't often see the benefit of it, so I rarely use it now. The Horned Helmet. This is a bit like Ankh, but it will only resurrect your warriors. Resurrect a random allied warrior with 24% health. Additionally, restores 24% health over 4 seconds. Enhances damage done by 24% and armour by 24%. This is the thing. The resurrected warrior becomes the target of all enemy units for 4 seconds. So, if your warrior dies, this will resurrect him up, give him a quarter of his health back, restores another quarter of his health but over 4 seconds, enhances his damage done by 24%, which is nice, and armour, but he becomes the main target of everybody. So as soon as he gets back up, he's going to be killed again. It sounds good and the percentages look good, but it doesn't really work that well. I started using it, but again, it's one I've dropped. One that is quite a good and helpful relic is the Fiery Totem. This basically puts a decoy in the middle of the field that the enemies all attack, giving your troops a breathing space to heal up and to do more damage to the enemy. Summons a Fiery Totem to the battlefield. The totem in this case has 162,080 health and deals 4,700 magic damage per second to all enemy units and forces them to attack itself. So it forces the enemy to attack this Fiery Totem. It has a huge amount of health and deals a little bit of magic damage. The damage it deals isn't really a big thing. It's the point of it taking the damage away from your troops. At higher levels, this becomes less effective because of the amount of damage the enemy are doing. But early on in the game, up to midway, this is a really handy thing. And even now I use this in the portal and dungeon. It seems to work better with the game's enemies rather than the player's enemies. And lastly, for relics, the Heart of Thorns is a really good relic later on in the game. Casts a debuff on random enemy targets that turns 28% of the healing they receive into pure damage for 4 seconds and negates the remainder of the healing. By the time you get to Throne Room 11, the enemy are going to be doing quite a lot of healing, like this regeneration, absorb healing and vampirism. If you take those 3 things into account alone, they're going to be doing a lot of healing, and this will turn 28% of that healing into pure damage, so they basically kill themselves. This is a really good relic to have. Even at level 1 it's quite good. What I sometimes do is start leveling them up before I start equipping them. So with the damage, armour and healing and the relics out the way, the other talents can be upgraded, like the Last Chance. When taking otherwise fatal damage, the allied warrior becomes invulnerable for 1.3 seconds. Activates once every 25 seconds. It has a long time before activating, but you can sometimes see in battles it activating quite a few times. This is really a lifesaver of a talent. And even if you can't afford to upgrade this a lot, you want to get at least 1 point in it to get it activating. Last but not least would be Thug. Increases the crit of all allied warriors. The higher level your troops are, the higher the chance of critting and dodging. At level 100 you'll see your troops doing quite a lot of crits, so upgrading this will be helpful too. And very lastly on this board we have a star. The warrior star in this case. This is expensive to upgrade for what you get out of it, and I would really recommend leaving this until everything else is upgraded, at least everything that you use. Increases health of all allied warriors by 1000, next level 1500, so upgrades health by 1000. When you compare it to this one at 76,000, you'll see that it's not much. The only difference is that with all the talents here, they'll only work for a maximum of 3 troops, 3 warriors. If you have 4 warriors, one of your warriors won't be getting this 76,000 extra health. And in a way, that's where this star comes in handy, because the 4th warrior, as well as the other 3 warriors, will be getting that extra bit of health. But I wouldn't be upgrading this until the very last thing, because it's expensive for what you get back. That goes for all of the classes stars. The mage one, for instance, 13,000 tokens for really low 125 extra spell power. And the archer one, 13,000 tokens, again for an extra 100 physical damage. The warrior, mage and archer have flags. This is the djembe flag for the warrior. Each of the 3 classes, warrior, mage and archer, have flag relics. Each flag relic will boost your troops, all of your troops, in different play areas. In this case the djembe. Again, I personally don't use these. If you spend a lot of time in one of the play areas, it might be worth upgrading it and using it. That's the warrior constellation. Onto the mage. Similar thing, we want to put 1 point into the Mask of Quiet to open up the rest of this area. This is actually a really good relic, and at end of the game I've seen a lot of people using it maxed out. And the reason is, at Throne Room 11, mages are massively powerful, more so than warriors, and this will prevent enemy mages from using spells. Obviously as you upgrade it so it lasts longer, and preventing mages from using spells for nearly 10 seconds is a massive help. So that's quite a good relic, but at this stage I don't recommend using it, as it won't be helpful early on. Instead, like the warrior, you want to be looking at this first talent. In this case, increases spell power but not health. Again, we're looking at the core. We want to upgrade spell power and health and armour. So we want to upgrade Sage. When you can, Conditioning by Magic to get more health, because mages are quite squishy. And also increase the magical armour of mages. After that, you want to look at upgrading and putting as many points as you can into Astral Exercise. When taking otherwise fatal damage, allied mages consume an astral form for 3.2 seconds and restore their weapon ability. While in astral form, mages are invulnerable and they cannot be targeted for attacks, but they can continue attacking and using abilities. Activates once per battle. This is an absolute lifesaver. Instead of your mages being killed, they'll take an astral form and survive the battle. If you're in the dungeon, for instance, instead of your mages being killed, they'll end up with just 1 health, and if you select an easier waypoint in the dungeon, you can use a healing mage to heal themselves back up, ready for a more harder waypoint. So that is an excellent one to have. Another good talent is the Archmage here. Every attack by allied mages increases their spell power by 2000. So if they're in quite a long battle, they'll do more and more and more damage. And again, the Spell Reflection. This is a really good talent. Every allied mage gets a 15% chance of copying a spell used by an enemy mage. This is a really good talent to have as well. There isn't a bad talent, but some talents you want to upgrade faster than others. And like I say, that wants to be the core of your troops' health damage and armour. Moving on to relics. This portal flag, again, because it's a flag, it increases the health, armour and damage of all your units, but only in portal. It's not something I use, but I do use the Banner of Souls relic, which increases the number of souls I get out of the portal by an extra 25% at level 8. If you enjoy playing in the portal at the weekend, I'd recommend upgrading this and equipping this Banner of Souls for extra portal souls. 2 relics I use all the time for my mages is the Sorcerer's Hat. 15,000 to mages health and 3,000 to magic damage done by all allied mages for each mage in the squad. So that's not 15,000 health per mage, that's 15,000 health for each mage. So if you have 3 mages, that's 45,000 health, which as you can see is a massive amount. Again, all of these effects like this stacks to a maximum of 3. So if you have 4 mages, only 3 of them will be getting this benefit. The other relic, well worth mentioning, is the Signet Ring. Every spell used by an allied mage increases the spell power of allied mages by 2000 until the end of battle, and provides them with a shield that absorbs 10,500 damage of any type. The shield is handy but not great, to be honest, but what we're looking at is the extra power they do, the extra spell power. So those, the ring and the Sorcerer's Hat, are the 2 I use a lot. The other relic I use a lot on occasion is the Dungeon Flag. Again, because it's a flag type relic, it only works in the dungeon. If you have this equipped and you're in the portal, you'll be losing the use of a slot that could be used for something else, and this won't be giving you any extra benefits. It only works in the dungeon. Like the other flags, it increases the health, armour and damage of all your units by X amount as you upgrade it. And lastly is the star. Okay, moving on to the archer. Very similar thing again. You want to level this up to level 1 to unlock the rest of the things. We want to concentrate on damage, your archers do, and also the health to keep them alive. Also, increasing the armour by upgrading Stone Skin is a really good thing to keep them alive too. The other 2 talents afterwards, you want to be looking at Double Shot. Allied archers get a chance to take a double shot at their target. For obvious reasons, that's a good one. and also vampiric arrows. When an allied archer's health falls below 80%, each of their shots restores health by X amount, 32% in my case. Obviously, when the health drops below 80%, they start healing themselves. That's an excellent one. Again, for archers, dodge is really handy to have. You have Trickster, which increases their dodge, and also secret techniques that increases their dodge. Every time they dodge, they're not taking damage. That's going to keep them alive to do more damage to the enemy. Again, here in the archer skill tree, there isn't a bad relic. So after you've got the damage and health and armour up, you want to put a point into everything else. In fact, you want to put a point into a relic as you unlock it, so you get to use it, because they're passive and they're active all the time. Every time you're in a battle, these talents are active. Another two really good talents towards the end here is Bullseye. Allied archers critical hits deal an extra 12,500 damage, which is quite a lot. Another one is Piercing Shot. Allied archers have a 21% chance of ignoring 24% of the target's physical armour while attacking. So on a boss like Pumbaa 3000, who has a lot of armour, the archer has a 21% chance of ignoring 24% of that armour. Looking at the relics here, I don't like Sunbeam. The War Flag is very important if you're in wars, which you should be. Again, I recommend upgrading that when you can and using it every time you go into war. You should have that equipped. That's the only flag I use. The Book of Wind relic is a really powerful relic. A lot of players at the end game use this. I don't personally use it. Some people like the Banner of Glory here, which increases the amount of glory points received. So if you're attacking other players' castle or in the arena a lot, you'll be gaining extra glory. Again, I personally don't use that one. This Ace Up the Sleeve can be quite handy in the portal where you're fighting a lot of troops. Increases the damage done by allied units by 6% for each enemy killed. So every time you kill an enemy, you're gaining extra damage. That can be quite powerful in the portal. If you like archers and you have a couple of archers, again these two relics are good. Robin's Hood. Allied archers deal 30% extra physical damage to the target whose health is more than 60%. So at the start of battle, your archers will be dealing more damage to get the health down. And the other one, Enchanted Quiver, adds extra physical damage done by all allied archers for each archer in your squad. The effect stacks to a maximum of 3 archers. So if you were to have 2 archers, that would be an extra 2,400, and for 3 archers, 3,600 extra physical damage. The other relic I use in this constellation is the Banner of Kraken. Increases the number of Kraken tokens earned in the Djembe by 25%. So when you do a run of Djembe, you'll obviously be getting more Kraken tokens, which is the whole point of it really. So that's a really good one to use. Again, at the end we have the Archer Star, which it's expensive for what you get, and I would leave that until you've done everything else. And that is what we upgrade for your hero. The relics here is what I normally use. Sometimes if I'm in the portal or the dungeon, I'll use this Fiery Totem. Sometimes I'll use the Ankh. If I fight in the arena or player versus player, I'll use the Heart of Thorns. If I go into war, I will put that in this top slot here, but I'll keep the Armoured Hamster, the Belt and the Sorcerer's Hat. These 3 I keep all the time. If I go into the dungeon, then obviously I swap out the top one for the dungeon flag. If I go into the portal at the weekend, I'll put the Banner of Souls in. And if I go into Djembe, I'll put the Banner of Kraken in. But you want to check these before you start each battle. So when you go into war, don't just go into war because, like, if you have this Banner of Kraken equipped, it won't do you any good. So just double check you've got the right relics in. Okay guys, just before I wrap this video up, let's take a quick look at the chests you get from the dungeon. Because the dungeon goes hand in hand with your hero. You get, at Throne Room 11, you get 3 chests. At Throne Room 9 and 10, you get these 2 chests. The blue one here. 3 to 4 relic fragments. If you're lucky, a torch to get back into the dungeon. And quite often you get more tokens. Let's quickly open one to see what we get. So we've got 341 tokens for the warrior and some relic fragments there. That's the blue chest. This chest here, you only get this chest if you use a torch. If you pay for apples, you won't be getting this chest. But we get 5 to 6 relic fragments and some possible tokens. And you quite often get legendary and legendary item too. Let's see what we get. Well, we didn't get a legendary item, but we did get the tokens and a couple more fragments. 6. At Throne Room 11, you'll also be getting this chest. These are materials to craft essences with. There we go. As you can see, I've got 991 of these, and I do open them now and again, but they're not as needed as the other 2 chests are. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any further questions, leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.